Hi there, I'm Julie from This Beautiful Farm Life, and today I'm going to be sharing with you about using spring, faux, florals, and greens in your farmhouse. So, I have never been very big on faux greens and florals because I think I grew up in the generation of plastic and all the things that just didn't look very good. So for years I didn't have any in my house, and I have an acre of yard with beautiful roses and perennials and shrubs and annuals that I can cut all season long and make beautiful bouquets in my house all spring and summer. But there are times of the year when I can't go out to my yard and cut greens and flowers, and I just get anxious for some fresh color in my house and beautiful flowers. And so I have, in the last few years, just started getting a few faux florals and greens and bringing them into my house very selectively. So I just wanted to share with you today about how I use them and what I do with them. So some of the reasons why I went to the faux greens is because I am really bad with houseplants, and I love to garden. I have a big yard, but I cannot keep a houseplant alive. And I think it's because I really just don't want to babysit one more thing in my house with all the busyness that we have going on with our family. So I have just sworn off houseplants, and I don't do that. And you can buy beautiful fresh bouquets at discount warehouse stores like Costco and things like that are pretty reasonable. But if you bought a bouquet every week for $15 or $20, that would add up very quickly, and it's never been a part of my budget. So I've just learned how to be really selective with my faux greens and pick out ones that really go with my home and that look a little seasonless. And then in the springtime or the fall, when I'm running out of things, I can bring in some fresh faux flowers as well and brighten my home up. So it's not quite spring yet, but it's just around the corner. So I worked up some little displays here for you to see how I would use faux greens in my house, and we're going to talk a little bit about the key points of doing that to make it keep it in a farmhouse theme. So one of the first things that I do is I use my own farmhouse containers. I usually take those and tuck those right into something else. So I would set a vase down inside of this watering can, or I have a vintage cherry bucket from our farm right here that I could set a big vase down inside. I use a lot of white pitchers in my home. You can never go wrong with those, so collect them anywhere you find them, pick them up. I have them in all shapes and sizes. And I have, you can use wooden boxes, baskets, wire baskets. There's so many things that you can use. Look around your house, be creative. Use a white gravy boat that you might have with your china. You could use all kinds of things in your home to put your flowers in that will make them look more beautiful, of course, and look country right away. The other thing that I do is I try to stick with one color. So this is just all faux ranunculus. My house is pretty neutral, and I have a lot of busyness going on already, and I think that this is just lovely and elegant and simple, and it doesn't distract or make things crazy in our home, so I can add flowers in without a lot of fuss. And the other thing that I love is just having one kind of flower. So if you're going to have a mixed bouquet, then I would definitely do it in one color. But even better is the one kind of flower or one kind of green in each bouquet or each place that you're using faux or real. And I think that just brings me back to thinking about grandmas and how, you know, the farm women that came ahead of us would have gone out to their garden and found that, oh, today the daisies are all in bloom, and they would have made a beautiful daisy bouquet, probably without a lot of other filler greens and all the things that we think we need now, because that's what they come like in the florist. But we can just pop those beautiful flowers in all by themselves. And so this is the look I'm trying to recreate here in my home with faux floral. It's just that little simple farmhouse look. So the other thing I do a lot of is using greens when I don't want a lot of color. To me, green plants, green anything living green is sort of neutral. It just disappears in your home, but it does add enough filler in your life to feel fresh and ready to go. So I like to add just greens to things. Now this is just a bunch of picks that I stuck in here, and 4 in fact, and I put them in this little vintage white pedestal dish that I have from an antique store that I've had for a few years. It has a little birdhouse here and a bird, and I wanted it on a garden theme and a spring theme, so I added some vintage terracotta, some old blue clippers, and then to just perk this little scene up, I added these maidenhair ferns. And so those ferns would go really all year, because people often have ferns in their house all year. So I wouldn't really have to replace those very often. I could simply pull out some of these spring items. Then I could add in other seasons if I wanted to keep this together and keep this fern going for a long time. In this little pan right here in the front, I have a little pot of greens that you can see that I got at IKEA actually. If you live near an IKEA, they have lots of greens there. I stuck it in a little white pot. And then this over here is a little dish, the same kind of little vintage dish as that white pedestal. And it's filled with faux radishes for spring. And then of course to add a little touch to it, I just added down in front here a little garden spade and a birdhouse and a bird, because I like to tie it to the table. And then this is just a watering can. It's not actually an old one, it's just made to look old. And I just popped these little ranunculus in here. And I have a display over here by my bench by the back door. And I have some more garden tools that I stick there with those. And that makes my spring display right by the back door. So using greens, using seasonless greens like ferns, herbs, boxwood is another one that goes all season long. And then if you want to have some flowers that are just for a specific season, like say tulips or whatever, those get more expensive sometimes. And so I usually just get one kind of flower for the season that I want, and I usually get it in a solid color and usually white, and I would put that in a prominent place on my dining room table or my kitchen island where it would be seen, and then I would just use greens in the rest of the house so I don't have to change them out. I just have to change out this one, and then that only leaves me with one faux flower that I have to store for that season. And the rest of them stay out all season long, and I don't have to worry about them being in a tote somewhere. So I hope you enjoyed this. Just a little bit about how I use my faux greens and my faux florals, and I hope that you give it a try, and we'll see you next time. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can get my videos in your inbox every week, and click on through to my blog so you can come back and join me again here at the farmhouse for fresh, nourishing food, wholesome living, and simple farmhouse beauty. Bye now.